Hi, my name is Holly Thompson, and I'm Communications Director at THPRD. I am here speaking about local option levy measure 34337. It will be before the voters in May of 2024. The voters will be able to decide whether they want to fund this new local option levy that will allow THPRD to maintain service levels. So this is a new levy. THPRD has not asked for an operating levy since the 1990s. And if this levy is passed, it will allow the district to continue to operate as we do today. Little bit of background and history on THPRD. We serve more than 270,000 people all throughout the city of Beaverton and urban unincorporated Washington County. We serve all 100,000 residents in Beaverton, plus folks living in Aloha, Bethany, Cedar Mill, Garden Home, and more. We were formed in 1955 when a physical education teacher at Beaverton High School by the name of Elsie Sturr recruited community members and said we needed to have a dedicated government focused on providing park and recreation services. And from our origin story of serving 3,100 people, we have grown into a complex park system that serves all ages, all abilities, and has so much to offer the community. Today, we have 6 recreation centers scattered throughout the community, 8 swimming pools, more than 250 sports courts, baseball fields, soccer fields. We have tennis courts, we have pickleball courts, and more. We have 117 parks, 70 miles of trails, 162 natural areas, and we serve all ages and abilities in our programming inside of our facilities. We offer summer camps, we offer adult fitness, we offer a robust inclusion program that helps people experiencing disabilities participate in all activities and programs, and a series of community events all year long that bring us together. The reason THPRD is asking the voters to consider funding a local option levy is because we are experiencing a funding shortfall. So we have been working behind the scenes, looking at our budget, and we are seeing year over year our revenues are not keeping up with expenses. We are projecting that within 5 years, our revenue shortfall will grow to $16 million per year, representing about 21% or $1 out of $5 in our operating budget. So where does THPRD get our funding from? The majority of our funding, or 2/3 of our dollars, comes from property taxes. It is through the generosity of the people who live in this community, that own property and pay taxes on that property, that we are able to offer all of the parks, the trails, the natural areas, and the facilities. We also capture about 22% of our revenues through the fees that you and I pay when we register for classes. But why are we facing a funding shortfall? It really has its roots in Oregon's taxation structure. Back in the 90s, we as Oregonians made some collective decisions about how we wanted to limit the growth in property taxes, and Measure 50 was passed by the legislature in 1997. The impact of Measure 50 was that it established the real concept of assessed value versus real market value, and it divorced forever paying taxes on the real market value of a piece of property. Real market value refers to what a piece of property is worth on the open market. So for example, if you had a home and you were to sell your home and a real estate agent recommended you price your home at $500,000, that would be the real market value of your home if you were able to sell it for $500,000. But your assessed value, what you pay taxes on, can be very different. And in fact, today, 25 plus years from Measure 50, most assessed values are drastically lower than real market values. In fact, the average assessed value of property in the THPRD service area is $303,000 per year. That assessed value can only grow per law because of Measure 50, 3% a year. And as you can imagine, going through the COVID-19 pandemic, as we all experienced runaway inflation, if the majority of your budget can only grow 3% a year, it is really hard to keep up and keep operating at the same level because inflation alone can be much higher than 3%. In addition to just the Oregon tax system, there have been other issues causing pressure on the THPRD budget. Like everyone else, we went through the COVID-19 pandemic and facilities were closed for 14 months. With the facility closures, we were not able to have people participating in programming, and that had a significant impact on the district budget. We also experienced the same challenges that the entire community has faced. The labor market expected higher wages. It became very challenging to hire people. It became very challenging to retain employees. And because of the impacts of the labor market and inflation, it has all added up to put great pressure on the THPRD budget. There have also been unfunded mandates from the state. These are good things that we have as Oregonians have chosen to adopt and to have as an important value part of our workforce. We want to have paid family leave. We want to have pay equity. These are wonderful things, but they come at a cost for employers, and that cost has to be made up somewhere. So through a combination of all of these issues, we have seen that we have a significant shortfall in our operating budget. And if we don't address that shortfall, we'll have to make some changes to how the district is operated. Last year, our board of directors appointed a task force of community members to take a deep dive into the THPRD budget, to look under the hood and make some suggestions and ask them to consider what we should do to fill the shortfall the THPRD was experiencing. What the task force looked at is we had every division director come to the task force and talk about if your division had to operate with 21% funding, how would you look different? How would the services be different for the community? Our largest division is our Recreation Services Division. These are the professionals that work in our centers, providing the classes, the programming, the aquatics instruction, the sports programming, the summer camps. And the Recreation Division let us know that if they had to cut 21% of their spending, it would be about $3.8 million. This would equal, because of finding the shortfall, we would have to close some facilities. We would be looking at closing at least 3 swimming pools. We would be looking at having to eliminate the district's mobile recreation program. This is the program that takes recreation out into the community for people who need access. We take mobile recreation to all the free school district sites where we distribute lunch throughout the summer. It goes to Wellness on Wheels, goes to communities where seniors are gathered, assisted living centers to offer recreation. And we have adaptive recreation that goes to places where people are experiencing disability and can't make it in, allows them to have recreation come to them. In addition, if we weren't able to plug the funding shortfall, we would anticipate changes to all of our facilities. We would no longer be able to maintain our after-school programs, our preschool programs, and we would see facility hours reduced at locations across the district. The next largest division that we have is our Park Service Division. These are the professionals that take care of our parks, that take care of our trails, and take care of our natural areas. These are the folks working in maintenance, making sure the garbage is collected, making sure the restrooms are clean, making sure that the properties are well taken care of, and the amenities are kept up and safe. We would see reductions in the staffing in this department, which would greatly impact their ability to keep up their maintenance and service schedules. Some of the changes that we would anticipate is that our neighborhood parks, which are all serviced weekly, some of them would reduce to maybe once a month. Others might be serviced every other week. We have restrooms throughout the district that we would have to close because we would not be able to get to those locations to maintain them and keep them clean and safe for the public. And so we would anticipate a collection and a potentially backlog of garbage and other issues in our parks. Another change that we would see is significant reductions in capital replacement funding, which would impact our ability to keep up on those safety repairs and the maintenance that we do out in our parks. And just by way of example, we recently had the winter storm that we all experienced in the community. It took us several weeks to clean up from that storm. It had an unbudgeted impact of over $200,000 to the district budget. And with reduced staffing levels, it would take us even longer to come back and get parks and trails operational again for the public if we were to experience an event like that. So altogether, district-wide, if the levy is not successful, we would be seeing a staffing reduction of about 300 positions, 300 people. We would have to say goodbye to 50 of our full-time staff. The district has about 200 overall, so a significant portion of our full-time staff. And we would have to say goodbye to about 250 of our part-time staff. That number can fluctuate between 150 to 250, depending on time of year. For example, in the summer, we have much higher employee loads with the summer programming, but those would be greatly reduced. So after looking at all of these issues and understanding the challenges on the THPRD operational budget, the task force made a unanimous recommendation to our board of directors. They felt very strongly that THPRD should ask voters to consider investing in a local option levy. Again, this would be a new local option levy. They recommended that we go to maintain service levels. So they did not want to see THPRD grow or expand too greatly. They really wanted to see us make sure that we were able to continue to operate what we have and maintain what we've built. And they recommended that the district ask voters to consider investing in a levy that was 5 years at 50 cents per thousand of assessed value. And again, remember, assessed value is the amount that you pay in taxes, not the real market value. So the average assessed value in the district, as I said, is $303,000. And that would mean for the average residents in the community, an increase in taxes of about $152 per year or $12.68 per month. There is one tiny little but impactful thing in the levy. While the majority of it is about maintaining existing operations and services, based on the task force recommendation, the district did put in a little bit of money to replace the district's registration system. So the system that you register for classes would be an update to that would be funded through the levy if it were to be passed by voters. So we just want to make sure that people are aware, have the information that they need, and can find out what they need to about the THPRD levy. You can learn more at www.thprd.org, and just really appreciate the opportunity for people to be curious, learn about the levy, and have the information they need to make an informed decision this May. So it will be on the May 21st ballot. Thank you.